Out of the nearly 7 billion people on Earth, 1.8 billion of them are children under 15 years of age. According to UNICEF, approximately 250 million, or 14% of all the world's children, are child laborers, and of these, 120 million, or 7% of all children, work under conditions that jeopardize their health and even their lives. A significant portion of this burden of child labor is carried by the country of Cambodia, where 9.2% of children aged 5 to 14 are considered economically active, meaning they work for money. When we consider only children aged 10 to 14, this number increases to 24%. Nearly a quarter of children this age are recognized by the ILO as child laborers earning a wage. Compared to these figures, unofficial reports from people living in Cambodia paint an even bleaker picture. They indicate that the proportion of Cambodian children working as wage laborers looks more like this, around 50%, twice the number acknowledged by the ILO. How did they get missed? What is it that makes half of the child laborers of Cambodia, the labor of a full quarter of children under the age of 15, so invisible? Most of these children are domestic laborers, hidden from official scrutiny by the informality of the practice and the social and familial networks that shape it. Understood as a natural consequence of poverty, employment as a domestic laborer has become a normal part of daily life for many of Cambodia's youngest citizens. Because of their heightened visibility, the health risks faced by children in the formal economy, such as hazardous environments, dangerous machinery, and physical toil, are rather well known. Though they are less visible, children employed as domestic laborers are still at greater risk for harm. Every year, thousands of children in Cambodia suffer injuries such as burns, scalding, falls, and physical and verbal abuse at the hands of their employers. Research has also shown that child labor of all varieties is correlated with increases in adolescent mortality, nutritional deficits, and infectious disease in the entire population. While prohibition of child labor in domestic work may seem an appropriate response, actions against child labor elsewhere in Southeast Asia have shown us that strict regulations on those who employ children can backfire. In Bangladesh, thousands of child factory workers were fired after the United States began prohibiting imports of goods made by children. Instead of returning to school, as U.S. policymakers had hoped, most of these children simply found other work, often in more dangerous situations. Therefore, a successful campaign against child domestic labor will not target the employers and families who take children into their homes, but rather the social structures that drive children into the domestic labor market in the first place. A parent's decision to send his or her child to work is influenced by a number of factors, including family assets, the employment status and wage of the parent, the cost and availability of schooling, and the operative social values in the community. These forces can be effectively mitigated with the promotion of integrated educational and nutritional programs in Cambodia's most impoverished areas, by implementing free meal programs in local schools and food support programs for families of children enrolled in schools. The risk of nutritional deficit and the burden of food insecurity could be alleviated for a child's entire household. This would mean that the collective assets of a household would be less taxed. It would also help a parent support their family's cost of living without sending their children to work. Access to schooling could be increased by expanding school hours to include evenings and offering flexible programs for children who are unable to abruptly end their wage-earning duties. Technical and vocational training could offer children increased knowledge and safety in the workplace, as well as prepare them for success in the formal economy as adults, further reducing the necessity to begin working at an early age. Most importantly, it's clear that parents in Cambodia would prefer to send their children to school, not to work, if they had the choice. The educational initiatives proposed here align with pre-existing social values and responds to the stated desires of Cambodian parents to allow their children to attend school without risking the financial stability or food security of the household. Each year, the ILO adopts a new global focus to guide the fight against child labor. Due to the staggering severity and invisibility of the problem, the ILO is highlighting the burden of child domestic laborers in the year 2013. June 12th is ILO's World Day Against Child Labor. This year's slogan is No Child Labor in Domestic Work. This occasion is an opportunity for the international community to recognize their role in ending child domestic labor in Cambodia and elsewhere. It is an invitation for the international community to respond, and we already know what that response should be. Now is the time for development aid agencies including UNICEF, UN Habitat, USAID, AusAid, GTZ, IMF, and the World Bank Group to support appropriate, innovative, and necessary educational reforms for the children of Cambodia, so that each one of them has the opportunity to learn, have a childhood, and to thrive.